Hi there, my name is K Moon and I'm a Twin Soul channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the new moon in Pisces for 2021 that occurred on March 13th, 2021 at 5:21 a.m. for Twin Souls. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, that was the time. If not, feel free to check a time zone converter for your local time. This particular new moon in Pisces, I'm actually really grateful I waited to do this video for you guys because I ended up having a very special conversation today with someone who helped me understand and see that there's also additional meaning going on for twin souls right now during this union window, that it's not just what I thought it was. And I'm going to get to that in a minute because this illumination will help a lot of people understand why things are happening the way that they are. Before we get there, I want to just pause and again say a huge thank you to all of my subscribers on the channel. That we're at 15,000 subscribers continues to blow my mind. I never thought I had that kind of relevant information for that many people. So I have created a special celebration for the subscribers. My flagship course, Star School 101 Astro Basics for Twin Souls, is now available for a very special price of $111.11 through March 19th only. You can also get access to the very special bonus bundle that I offered to Star School students, the first ones to sign up last year, November. But you can get access to that as well for $33.33. Or you can jump on and grab both of them for $144.44. This special pricing is only available through March 19th on Star School itself. After that, Star School goes back in the vault probably till sometime much later this year. Dates yet to be determined. But if you know you've been really wanting to understand and learn astrology the way I see things, you can grab Star School now. The recording only version of Star School will give you the opportunity to understand all sorts of amazing things. We'll talk about the signs and planetary placements and what they mean. So if you've ever been like, oh, this house on my chart is empty, what does that mean? I get into that. How to understand conversations between the planets so that you understand, like, okay, Neptune is now square Venus in my chart. What does this mean for me? We're going to talk about timing of transit so that you can predict and really see what's coming energetically for you or for your divine counterpart. So when the energy shifts, you're not blindsided by it. You'll get to understand how the planetary positions create either harmony or tension, and why, a Mars square Venus or square Sun could be very different than Mars conjunct Venus or conjunct Sun. We'll talk about interpreting planets in houses and aspects in the natal chart. So if you've ever wondered, why your person communicates the way they do, you'll get a really good look at their house of communication and how it's structured so that you can better understand the way they are naturally built and see for yourself that by divine design, they are the way they are for a reason. And you'll get a better sense of how to work with that energy so you're not so frustrated. And you'll overall get a better sense of who you are and who your counterpart is so that you're feeling a lot more compassion, ease, and grace about the connection. Star School itself is, here's what one of the students had to say, that she had some real aha moments there of self-understanding. She also got to know her counterpart better. And she can interpret his charts and his transits now. And this helps her feel a lot more compassion, which was the whole point of the course, assisting you in finding more compassion, ease, and grace in your connection. Star School comes with 4 pre-recorded classes. So all 4 of these are already recorded. You'll be able to listen and learn on your own time. There are 4 90 to 120-minute office hours recordings. So you'll be able to listen to the questions that I've already provided answers to and hear those answers so better understand the material. You'll also get one full color 26-page PDF workbook that you can download and print and work through the answers for your chart, work through the answers for your counterpart's chart. And when you can start to compare these things side by side, you can really see, oh, wow, okay, this is how I can work better with my counterpart, whether you're in union, on your way to union, some form of spiritual union, but no physical union, all of that you'll get better understanding of through Star School 101. And then the bonus bundle, there are no classes in the bonus bundle. There are just 3 special reports, the guide to retrograde planets. This will help you understand what the major planetary retrogrades mean and how those energies are different from planets that are moving direct. You'll also get an understanding of how frequently planets go retrograde and how long those retrogrades last, so that, again, you're not guessing when the energy has changed and then wondering why you're stuck, why they're stuck, what happened here. You'll be able to plan in advance. Okay, I want to work on this or this year. I'll do it during this or that retrograde period, or I'll avoid this or that retrograde period, so that you can leverage the power of the stars for your benefit. We also have the 2021 Retrograde Report, and this goes in depth about the meanings of the retrogrades for this particular year. Because even though there's a general meaning for all the retrograde planets, a retrograde cycle includes conversations between the retrograde planet and all the other planets in the chart, and that gives each retrograde cycle a very particular meaning and theme. 2021 has a stacked, heavy retrograde period towards the end of the year. And so this will help you understand how to leverage that energy from June forward, so that you're not feeling like, oh, wow, life just slowed down on me again. You actually know how to work with the energies. Lastly, you'll get access to the Divine Counterpart Union schedule. And this is a map, or basically a listing of all of the conjunctions between Jupiter and Juno, whom I read as the divine counterparts for the last 50 years and the next 30 years, so that you can really see the history of your connection, especially if you've got a long-term 10-plus-year connection. And you can chart the future of your connection and understand how much time you have between now and the next conjunction of the divine counterparts in the sky. This will also give you a sense of how to work with union energies when they come along. What are the themes? What are the lessons for each of these periods of time? So that you can really look and see, oh, that's why certain things played out the way they did between us at that period of time. It's because this was our lesson. You can start to see what the coming lesson is, so that you can begin to work those energies and be in harmony and flow instead of fighting against the tide of the energies. This bonus bundle also comes with the 3 guides that I just mentioned, video overviews for each of the guides. So 1 5 to 10-minute video, so that you understand how to use the information, as well as 1 illumination call. That's this Wednesday, March 17th. It's a live session. So if you've got questions about the information in the bonus bundle or Star School itself, get in on the bonus bundle, because this is where you'll have the chance to talk to me on Wednesday, this Wednesday, March 17th for $33.33. You can grab the bonus bundle, hop on a call with me, and ask whatever questions about astrology that you'd like. The bonus bundle will remain available here on the website, but Star School goes back in the vault after Friday. So if you've been wanting to jump on Star School, you like the way I read the stars, you want to really dig into a deeper understanding, Star School 101 Astro Basics is the best place to begin. And you can get them now for a very special price. You can get them together for $144.44. You can get just Star School for $111.11 or just the bonus bundle for $33.33. Totally up to you, but definitely do it this week, because once the live class is over for the bonus bundle, you'll get the recording only. And once Star School goes back in the vault, you're not going to get this price again. So I just wanted to set this up as a way to say thank you to all of you for being subscribers. It's been a wonderful ride working with each of you in private session as well as here on the channel. The links for Star School and the bonus bundle are right below this video. So definitely, if you're thinking about it, do it. Do it now. Okay, so let's talk about this new moon in Pisces for twin souls. This particular new moon, here's the new moon happening at 23 degrees Pisces, which is very lovely. And I go in depth about the meaning of this lunation in the Lightworker Energy Update video. So I'm not going to go into that here. But what we're seeing during this new moon for the divine counterparts is we see Juno pulling away from the South Node. She's had her first meeting with the South Node. She's the divine feminine. And we also see her in sextile to Jupiter right here. And she's been in sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. We talk about that in Star School. She's been in sextile since December, and that's what created the opening of this union window. This window remains open, meaning they remain in sextile formation through about mid-April. And that's after that, that's when we start to see tensions begin to rise again as they start to move out of harmonious formation. Because Jupiter's now pulling away from Saturn. And I go in depth about what Jupiter and Saturn sitting together mean inside of the general video for this lunation for light workers, that energy update. We're starting to see some of the release of a bit of the pressure that has been on the divine masculine energy for learning and growth. Now, again, those of you who are on the channel already know, but for those of you who are new, welcome. Please subscribe. The divine masculine energy is the one I read as Jupiter, and Saturn sitting with it is the energy of restriction for our own betterment. It's the energy of discipline. And we all have both divine masculine and divine feminine energy. So somewhere in everyone's energy field, there has been a restrictiveness, a call to integrity, a need to step into greater wholeness, and a call to separate ourselves. And maybe you didn't even do it. Maybe, life has done it for you. Separate yourself from things that have compromised your ability to be whole. This particular lunation sees the continuation of that process in our own divine masculine energies. But now that Jupiter is 10 full degrees away from Saturn, it would be very hard to say that they're still conjunct. They're not. They are far enough apart to not have so much influence on one another. And there's a few different ways that this could play out. We could see for some of you that divine masculine energy in the 3D world, for those of you who are experiencing a polarized masculine and feminine energy, where one of you occupies one more than the other. One of you may identify as being pretty much exclusively divine masculine at this time, or the other exclusively as divine feminine at this time. The closer you get to union, the less of those distinctions you have. You actually start to really resonate with both energies very solidly. But for those who are experiencing that polarized energy, and that's a cycle, it's a process, for those who are experiencing that energy, you may see the counterpart who identifies as divine masculine in the connection start to have more freedom, more space, more bandwidth to be in connection with the counterpart who identifies as divine feminine inside the connection. That's one way this energy could play out. The other way this energy could play out is, that some of the challenges that the divine masculine has encountered in stepping into 2021, some of those challenges, it's like the training wheels coming off. And this is kind of like, the universe saying, hey, can you ride this bike without training wheels? Yes or no? And we'll find out. We'll find out in the coming 60 days, 90 days. There's more here for divine masculine energy, but I'm going to come back to that. I want to talk about the divine feminine energy, Juno here, because there's a lot of activation that she's receiving at this time. And many who identify as, holding the majority of divine feminine energy inside their connection, many of you are going to start to see that there's just this period of time has just been full of transformation for you, especially as the divine feminine has had her first conversation with the south node. This would have prompted a reclamation of information and or energy in the connection from a past life. So for some of you, this may have been dreams. This may have been flashes of insider memory. This may have been, maybe you did a past life regression or some level of past life work. Maybe, you went in and you actually tinkered a little bit with the healing for the part of you that has held on to certain things from a past life. You had to go back and resolve certain oaths that maybe you took that have spanned multiple lifetimes. Maybe you had to break those oaths or those multi-lifetime vows to clean up some of the energetics and vibration that are standing in the way of anchoring love here in the 3D in this timeline. All of that has been available and remains available to divine feminine energy through June. So if you haven't done anything like that yet, or nothing has come forward yet, you have not missed it. There is still the opportunity to do that. And more specifically, in a very mundane kind of very basic way, this is very much twins who have been and were in some kind of union in the past, who have separated, now having the opportunity to come back together in the 3D world. There will be some twins during this period of time who will even meet their twin for the first time on planet Earth, because of the way this union window operates. Some of you may find this person through the arena of work, or maybe you've known them for a while, but it's now suddenly like the rest of the connection comes online into consciousness for you. So there's several ways that this energy can play out, and I wanted to just make sure I mention multiple themes here, because my guides really showed me back, and they said that in December of last year, they showed me this, like, early in 2020, they said there will be a split of the timelines in December. And what will happen is that some people will start the process of, taking whatever their next step is in union, but it's going to look very different ways for multiple people. Some people will come into some sort of 3D romantic union right at that time. And it's just because, that's what they both chose. That's, their lives were set up for it, etc. Other people will move into a state of separation because that's the most authentic choice in the world of union at that moment in time. And there is something in the union for them to learn via the separated energy. And that even that will be a step toward union, despite the way it looks like it's not. And if you're curious about that, I went in depth in the Sag Gemini eclipse cycle. That's always linked below the videos, where in the video for twin souls, the message was to count it all union. especially if it's something that doesn't look like union, but it's coming forth as true authenticity from the heart and the connection. This is actually a step in the right direction. Then the final thing had to do with separation, union, spiritual union. And this is the clincher. This is why I waited to do this video, that I didn't know that I waited for this reason, but I had the conversation today with a colleague of mine. And as it turns out, this passageway from December through May for many, many twins has been a passageway where even if there seems to be nothing happening in the material 3D world, many twins have, this has been a fusion point of spiritual union unfolding for many divine counterparts, where much more of the electricity and energetic passage, electrical energetic passage of energy between the counterparts, the passage of life force back and forth to and from one another, information in the subconscious mind going back and forth between divine counterparts and illumination. This is a period of time where a lot of that is starting to, it's been ramping up since December. So even if there's not been anything happening on the material world, that heightened sensitivity to your counterpart and what they're going through, and that heightened sensitivity to them and openness to them and perception, that heightened perceptual ability about where they're at and what's happening, you'll start, this period of time marks a turning up of the volume on spiritual union energies. And I can't believe I missed that when I was looking at the energy for the year, but I thank you all for your grace and allowing me to share it with you now. I'm trusting that I'm sharing it now, and now is the right time on purpose. So the spiritual union energy is really starting to unfold and flow. Some of you are not even, romantic union is not on the horizon. Some of you are working with your twin collaboratively in the workforce, because that's what's required and what's needed and in the highest and best interest of all at this time. So just know that, there's so many different ways that union energy can play out. And it's important, especially during the Sag Gemini eclipse cycle, to count it all union, even if it doesn't look like that. And if you need help understanding why and how, the link to the Sag Gemini eclipse cycle videos are below this one. Okay. And you can also book a private reading with me if you like. We can unpack it in a reading. Okay. All right. So let's see. We have Juno. She's the main activated player during this particular new moon. She's having a square to the new moon and the Neptune Venus conjunction to the new moon. Now, anytime we have a Neptune square, my friends, this is a challenge. This is a tricky energy. I'm not going to lie. The last time we had a major square between the divine counterparts and Neptune was a Jupiter square to Neptune. I believe it was during 2019. Let me just see. 2020. Yeah, 2019. And late 2018. Look, the way that energy played out, Jupiter square Neptune during 2019 provided a passageway where it would have been very easy for divine masculine energy to get very ungrounded, very lost in the flow of their life. There would have been a passageway for significant amounts of self-deception to unfold at that time. And that self-deception, not wanting to see certain things about self, about their life, about the choices they were making, a separation from higher self, that self-deception energy would have then lent itself to deception in the connection and illusion in the connection. So, concealment of information, direct lying about certain things. And that was divine masculine square Neptune in 2019 from the sign of Sagittarius to the sign of Pisces. Now we are in the place where divine feminine is walking that exact same pathway, square to Neptune from the sign of Sagittarius. It's presenting the exact same energy. So I'm not going to say that all divine masculines were deceptive in 2019. That's not it. All divine feminines have not been deceptive in 2021. What is it is that there is a calling to much higher knowing, higher awareness, higher spirituality in your connection. This awareness, this knowing, this insight, this energy, if it's more than what you feel like you can handle at this time, it would be easy to find yourself giving way to deceptive energy and illusion energy. It would be easy to find getting lost in stories as opposed to getting anchored in reality. This was one of the reasons during the 2021 channeled messages, I believe my guides were saying it's so important this year for the divine feminine to get anchored in what is real, what's tangibly solid, what she knows to be truth, and to anchor herself and center herself there. Because as I mentioned at the full moon this past, I think it was the full moon, was it in Leo? Whatever the past full moon was, there's so much shifting energy going on at this period. No, full moon in Virgo. So much shifting energy going on at this time. And so much change energy, specifically the way Neptune and divine feminine are speaking. Neptune is drawing out a lot of things that would have blocked divine feminine from her true self, starting to dissolve those and pull those away. It's really important to get centered into self and centered into your own reality and anchor into your own intuition and to relinquish the need for external sources of truth, external sources of predictability. It's important to look for your stability within as opposed to looking for your stability through predictability of circumstance, because we're not going to have that. It's such a huge transformative passageway for divine feminine energies in that regard. So for those of you who may be finding that at this time it's more expedient to conceal certain information in your connection for whatever reason, right? Like I don't know what your circumstance is, but the example could be I'm in touch with my twin, but my spouse doesn't know because I'm married to someone who's not my twin. I'm concealing that information and making it look like I'm not in touch with my twin. Or an example could be my twin and I are starting to come together. We're back in communication, but I never told them that I got pregnant and it was their child. And then, I had to make the tough decision about what to do with that pregnancy. And now we're back in communication. So I'm just not going to bring it up. I'm going to conceal or just straight up lie about that. If you're finding it expedient for whatever reason, no judgment, to not tell the truth at this time, just know that that is setting up a prolonged pathway to union with self, because the connection itself wants you to have all of you being present with yourself while also being present with them. No parts of them or you left out or excluded. So union can still occur. It adds a level of complication. And one of the things you can do during this period of time is start the process of looking at what's the circumstance that causes me to feel like I can't be all of me here, that I can't bring the true realness, authenticity of myself to my connection, because that's what Juno in Sagittarius wants to do. She wants authentic, real, truthful, free to be herself connection. That's what she's striving for. And where that's not happening, and it's very possible on the divine feminine side that she doesn't feel like she can for whatever reason, this is the time to dig into the roots of the wounding. Why? Because here's our friend Chiron hanging out there in Aries. Why do you feel like it's not, like you can't be all of you, like all of you isn't accepted? Or what consequence is so horrible that it would be expedient to separate yourself or hide parts of what's real and what's truthful for you and make peace with it? This would be the time to do that. So again, if none of that's happening for you, just look, it ain't your story, leave it alone, let it be true for somebody else. But for those of you that are dealing with that, I wanted to make sure to address that. The other energy that's here, and I talk in depth about this in the Lightworker energy update video, is addiction breaking energy. And for many divine feminines, this is a passageway where addictions to some I have seen this, are addicted to their separation. They're addicted to the suffering of separation energy, and they are in resistance to the union energies that are hitting planet Earth right now. This is an opportunity to break that. There could be addiction to certain behaviors, certain thought patterns, gambling, I don't know, porn, sex, whatever. You could be addicted to cleaning. This is a transit way, all of 2021, where if you've been trying to break an addiction, this particular passageway will get you there. It's an addiction breaker passageway. I talk about that and provide resources inside of the first, the general Lightworker energy update. So please have a listen if that's one of your struggles. And look in the description box for the resources I've set aside for you. Which reminds me, I want to make sure I add a resource. Cool. And so, yeah, much of this again is catalyzed on the divine feminine side, but it's catalyzed on the divine feminine side in response to some of the more authentic ways divine masculine energy has been showing up. You may have really seen for yourself in your own divine masculine energy what you do and don't have energy and interest in anymore. And it's causing a restructuring on your divine feminine side of yourself in terms of the way you're dealing with your life. Meaning, look, I just don't have energy to work in the same way that I used to work. So that means that you actually have to reset expectations in communication with the people you work with. Or maybe, you know, your divine masculine energy just needs different boundaries than it used to have with certain friendships. So now you have to go and have those conversations with people and reshape those friendships in your divine feminine energy. They work in tandem. Okay. All right. There's also an interesting energy here with divine feminine having a conversation with Eris. And I won't get too in depth about Eris's energy, but she's the energy of righteous riot, the energy of, you know, retaliation, strife, discord. This is the kind of thing that comes forward when Eris energy presents itself when we feel like we've been disenfranchised, when we feel like something that we deserved was not given, not provided. Eris is the energy who will show up, bang down the door, and make sure she gets what it is she feels owed. And that's the energy here with divine feminine talking so inherently to Eris. inside of divine connections at this point in time, there is an awakening and an awareness, not an awakening, but an awareness on the divine feminine side of the energy, where the divine feminine has either taken too much out of the connection, tried to pull their twin along, taken up more space, never really paid attention to what the twin wanted. It was only about what she wanted. These are very trite examples. You're going to have to look at your life and understand that these things are more complex. Taken too much at one extreme, at the other extreme, received too little. An example would be, divine feminine energy has, constantly been in a waiting energy. She moved past a lot of the lessons and now she rests in waiting energy. And so that's another extreme of the way this energy, wherever the imbalance is in the connection, Eris is going to make sure you recognize the imbalance, because during this passageway, divine feminine energies will feel a level of resentment that has probably been unparalleled in connection. Unparalleled resentment about fill in the blank. I don't know your circumstance, but if that resentment is there around the connection, the pathway, what's been unfolding, how it's been going, Eris talking in harmony to the divine feminine energy is going to open your eyes to it, that resentment. And in opening your eyes to it, it's meant to assist you in rebalancing the way you're showing up in connection. So if you've been showing up in connection and you've been giving too much, you're going to feel resent at this period of time, because you're going to feel like, oh, what's meant to be happening isn't that your counterpart is supposed to give more. It's you supposed to step back. It's you meant to channel that resentment into changing your own behaviors so that you can make space in the connection for the other party to show up. If you're feeling resent in the other direction, like you've felt completely trapped, in a relationship you don't want to be in, a circumstance you don't want to be in, and the resentment is bubbling, bubbling, bubbling at this period of time. The issue isn't how to get the spouse that you're with or, other things to shift. It's to shift yourself in terms of, what choices are you making? What stories are you telling yourself about your trappedness that just aren't true? How can you get to the point where you're bypassing the deception that you're trapped, that you can't, that you're not able, that, other people, I don't know, fill in the blank, would die if, you don't do certain things. Whatever story you've made up to keep yourself entrapped, that's this divine feminine speaking to Neptune. You're going to start to feel resentment at this time, so it can help you motivate yourself to make very different choices. All right. So where you're feeling owed in any way, where you feel resentful, pay attention, because the issue isn't that life owes you anything. It's that maybe you need to forgive your past so that you can make different choices in your present for a different outcome in your future. All right. All right, let's talk about divine masculine energies. Woohoo! Moving forward, these videos are getting so long, but it's because there's just so much happening for so many different segments of the collective. I'm really trying to hit every part. If it's useful to you, please hit the like button. But if not, I get it. I get it. Listen for what your storyline is and what validates your own intuition. So here's divine masculine energy in air sign Aquarius. And this is all about channeling quantum leap energy. One of the things my guides told me this year as, I was doing the channeled messages, they said, for divine masculine energies this year, the energy is going to feel a bit like it's going to present itself a lot more like an iceberg, where what you see on the surface is not even a quarter of what's actually going on beneath the water. The surface part of the iceberg is the smallest part. The biggest part is underneath, and that underneath part is what's going through significant changes. And we're going to start to see those in spurts this year. It's going to be sporadic, it'll be random, it'll look a little chaotic, it'll happen in spurts on the divine masculine side of the connection. And because divine masculine energy has been speaking here to Mercury being mind and communication, air signs also being about thought and communication on the whole, specifically Aquarius being about ideas. Many of you may find that during this period of time, your divine masculine has been more talkative than ever. There's been more transparency, more information, more insight. And for some of you, this is happening on the etheric more so than the material plane. But these new ideas, new insights about the connection itself is meant to assist you in moving forward in whatever way union energy is playing out in your connection at this time. For some of you, this has been a period of time of really negotiating. Okay, how do I get back into the country? Because we've been separated since COVID began by entire different bodies of water. But now we're negotiating how to navigate that travel. For others of you, again, this is a lot of work stuff. Many of you accomplishing goals and dreams together, or you're hearing your divine masculine counterpart talk more about the accomplishment of goals and dreams, the reshaping of goals and dreams so that they can move forward in a new way with them this year. And as the divine masculine energy pulls away from Saturn, you're going to start to see that the opportunity to move life forward on the masculine side of connection it's starting to get hyper real. It's going to start moving at hyper speed. So expect change. Whatever it is now is not what it's going to be. It is going to shift, and look for your stability within as opposed to needing predictability from outside in order to feel stable. This is also going to warp speed a lot of masculine energy in terms of creation and creatorship. So some have been working to manifest something, working to manifest certain outcomes in their world. This is a period of time where we can expect that fruit is going to start to bear on those projects for divine masculine energy. You'll start to see a lot of those things manifest in the material plane. Because Saturn's not there, a lot of the restrictions are lifted. But those restrictions, we were restricted from things that compromised our wholeness and integrity. So the question after this period of time is going to be, again, can you ride the bike without the training wheels? Because the restrictions may be gone. The universe isn't forcing integrity on you, but the question is, can you maintain it on your own? And I guess we're about to find that out. Interestingly enough, so we have divine feminine energy sitting in sextile to Eris, or sorry, trine to Eris. We also have divine masculine energy and Mercury energy sitting in sextile to Eris. So all those things that I just said about resentment and feeling owed applies on the divine masculine side of the connection as well. The usefulness of the Eris energy is to make sure that we shift the way we're leveraging our power. And we shift it in ways we recognize where we have felt powerless. We recognize that that's a story. And then we begin to shift the process we begin to shift our material world so that we no longer are living a life based on that lie that we're powerless. And so that's what's happening here. Okay, we have divine masculine energy square Lilith as well. And so with that square to Lilith, there is unfortunately And fortunately, one of the things about divine masculine energy is that necessity, that internal drive to providership and protectorship of other people. With this square to Lilith, though, what we have going on is a real kind of, I want to use some words that are not profane. Let's just say it's a real recognition where they don't have to do that in the same way that they used to. Let's put it like that. Because the words that were coming to mind were like, not that. There's a real recognition of, ways in which it behooves divine masculine energy to look out for self at this time. And even in those who anchor in and sit in more divine feminine energy, the divine masculine side of you may also be calling you to just look out for yourself at this moment in time. Just pay attention to your own path. Let go of the connection and what it's doing and where it's going and needing certainty about it, and pick up your own internal stability and pick up yourself and your centeredness in yourself. So, if you've been wanting to learn more about astrology, Star School is available. I highly recommend you take advantage. This is the lowest price it's ever going to be. But you can also grab the bonus bundle if you like, because we will start to move into shadow energies of all of the retrogrades, which majority are taking place in the second half of the year. And the retrograde report and the guide to retrograde energies will be there to assist you. If you've been wanting to take a look at how all of this plays out in your own chart and what's coming up later on in the year, definitely book a reading with me at kmoonastro.com. Make sure you have a look for which readings are personal versus twin flame readings, because in personal readings, I really only deal with your chart. If you want a reading with someone else looking at their stuff, you need to book that on the appropriate page. Thank you so much for all of the likes, shares, and subscribes. I'm totally honored that I get to be a guide and support for you during this incredible ascension pathway for twin souls. And I will see you in Star School, in our session, or right back here on YouTube. Take great care and bye for now.